hold to it and shoot for the sky.
Wrestling is about all kinds of aspects, from singles wrestlers to tag team wrestlers, from referees to commentators, but it's also about managers. Wrestling managers can play a big role for the wrestlers they manage, and a big part of stories and matches. But some managers started off as a wrestler first before transitioning into a full-time wrestling manager. So, in this week's list, we look at 10 WWE wrestlers who were also managers. Number 1, the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik was a wrestler in the 70s and 80s, reaching success like being WWE Champion and WWE Tag Team Champion. He is also a WWE Hall of Famer and held tons of NWA Wrestling Championships and some other minor wrestling promotions championships too. But he made the change to being a wrestling manager in the late 90s. His two most noticeable names he managed was Sergeant Slaughter in 1991 and the Sultan, who was a young Rikishi in 1997. He had more success in wrestling as a wrestler than a manager. But he did manage to have a career in wrestling after his in-ring career came to an end, and that's worthy enough to make this list. Number 2, Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund is a former WWE champion and a WWE Hall of Famer. He was part of WWE in its very early years, when it was known as the WWF, and wrestled names such as Superstar Billy Graham, High Chief Peter Maivia, and Bret Hart, just to name a few. He is also a former WWE Tag Team Champion. He's also held multiple titles from multiple territories and has been inducted into multiple different Wrestling Hall of Fames. He had some time in the corners of Kurt Angle and the Sultan, but his most noticeable wrestler in which he managed was Darren Young in 2016. None of his management work worked out too well. But he was more known for the technical wrestler he was more than being a manager anyways. Number 3, MVP. MVP made his way to WWE as a wrestler in 2005 and lasted until 2010. In that time, he held the WWE United States Championship and WWE Tag Team Championships too. He'd make appearances for WWE in 2018 before making a full comeback in 2020. He'd manage wrestlers like Omos and Bobby Lashley, along with THR Hurt Business as well. He led guys like Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and the rest of the Hurt Business to championship success, and even pushed Omos to big matchups against the likes of Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, and others. He now manages Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, now known as the Hurt Syndicate in AEW, where both Lashley and Benjamin are AEW Tag Team Champions. He had a very good mid-card talent position in WWE, and as a manager, he proved he can offer just as much to the sport as he can a wrestler. Number 4, the $1 Million Man. He's most noticeably known for his wrestling career in WWE in the 80s, in the Golden Era. He had one of the most over characters and gimmicks the 80s and 90s, and is even on many's list of greats to never hold the WWE World Championship. He left his mark as a wrestler in the Golden Era of WWE and even proved to be an asset as a manager. In WWE, he managed tons of wrestlers, such as King Kong Bundy, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Steve Austin in his early WWE career as the Ringmaster. He also managed and was part of the NWO and WCW for a little bit. The $1 Million Man proved to be a big name to have in a wrestler's corner and made a career of managing after his wrestling career has winded down. The WWE Hall of Famer has proved himself in the ring and at ringside, and that earns him his spot on this list. Number 5, Classy Freddie Blassie. Classy Freddie Blassie wrestled from 1935 to 1974. He retired due to the California law that prohibited anyone over 55 from getting a wrestling license, not to mention his knees were in terrible shape at the time as well. He then transitioned to a wrestling manager role. He managed names like Hulk Hogan, Jesse Ventura, and Kamala, to name a few. He was one of wrestling's smartest stars, and proved that when he led wrestlers to championships and helped create legacies along the way. The WWE Hall of Famer proved to be just as successful in managing a wrestling as he was being a wrestler. Number 6. JBL. John Bradshaw Layfield is a WWE Hall of Famer, and for good reason too. He not only is a legend ranging from the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era to the PG Era. He's held tons of championships such as the WWE title, Hardcore and Tag Team titles, along with a few WWE United States and Intercontinental Championships as well. For a small handful of months, he managed Baron Corbin. That run together didn't last long and is easily forgettable. It's definitely fair to say he saw more success as a wrestler than a manager. Number 7. Ric Flair. Ric Flair was the man in the 80s and 90s. The 16th-time world champion was without a doubt one of the best wrestlers of all time. After returning to WWE in 2001, he was in a general manager role. And after that, in the early stages of Evolution, Ric Flair became a manager for Triple H. He'd returned to wrestling for a little bit longer in 2008 at WrestleMania 24. He'd then go to TNA Wrestling, where he'd manage stables like Fortune and Immortal. In 2015, Flair returned to manage his daughter Charlotte Flair in WWE. Although his legendary wrestling career is more successful than his management career, he did lead his own daughter to championship gold and others to championship success as well. Flair may have been an all-time great wrestler, but to have the 16th-time world champion in a wrestler's corner could catapult a wrestler to new heights and brighter future. Number 8. Jamie Noble. Jamie Noble was a decent cruiserweight division wrestler and champion in WWE. He was able to stick around for a decade almost in WWE. But after retiring, he would eventually find himself in a manager and security role for Seth Rollins after his Shield breakup. He would usually help Rollins by getting involved in matches, part-taking in beatdowns, or taking the bullet for Rollins from time to time. After Rollins left the Authority stable, Noble would fall back into his backstage role and would no longer accompany Rollins in manager fashion. He would wrestle for WWE and manage in it years later, and has a career backstage. He's made a good career, whether it was in the ring, at ringside, or behind the scenes. Number 9. Joey Mercury. Joey Mercury was part of the M&M stable with Johnny Nitro and Melina. He saw tag team championship success and actually took part in matches with some big names like the Hardy Boys, Mark Henry Batista, and Rey Mysterio, among other names too. After his wrestling career was over, he too found new success in other areas of wrestling. But he too would find himself managing Seth Rollins in a security and manager role fashion. He with Jamie Noble was known as J&J Security for Rollins, and together they found a home in Theater Authority stable for a while. But like Noble, after Rollins left the Authority stable, Mercury no longer accompanied Rollins. He had decent success as a tag team wrestler in WWE, and although his management career isn't too successful, he did play part to Seth Rollins after his Shield breakup and his first world title in WWE. Number 10. Paul Bearer. Not many people know this, but Paul Bearer actually had a small wrestling career. He was known as Mr. X. This was all in the mid-70s. After becoming a manager, he managed as Percy Pringle. When he came to WWE in 1990, he took on the famous Paul Bearer gimmick and character, which became a fan favorite or all-time greats of managers. He's more noticeable for his time in WWE, managing the likes of The Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, and Vader, and even the Ministry of Darkness faction as well. He's left WWE only to return again and stand by Undertaker. He made one last return in 2010. Kickin lasted until 2012. He managed Kane and The Undertaker and played a role in that feud and a couple others too. He may not be a known worldwide wrestler, but he is known more for his wrestling manager roles. And he really did bring something to the table for certain wrestlers in WWE. Fun fact, the last indie wrestler he managed was Shawn Ricker, better known as L.A. Knight. Yeah. And that was our list. Can you think of any other wrestlers who became managers? Sound off in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow Ring Post Daily Podcast on YouTube and Facebook. Until next week, happy wrestling.